Welcome back, and thank you for being here today. If you've ever held a simple quarter in your hand and wondered whether it could be worth more than just 25 cents, you're about to discover how surprisingly powerful that question can be. This is a story for collectors, history lovers, and everyday people alike, because today we're exploring how a single Liberty Washington quarter dollar from 1981, struck at the Philadelphia Mint, can become one of the most valuable coins imaginable under extraordinary circumstances. A coin that once paid for parking, soda, or a quick purchase can, in rare and almost unbelievable cases, represent a value reaching as high as $758 million. This difference between face value and potential worth is not magic, it is the result of human error, mechanical imperfection, historical context, and extreme rarity colliding in just the right way. At first glance, the 1981 Washington quarter looks completely ordinary. Millions were produced, and for decades they blended seamlessly into circulation. People spent them without thinking, stored them in jars, or used them for laundry machines. The Philadelphia Mint did not use a mint mark during many earlier periods, but by 1981, Philadelphia coins were identified by the P mint mark, signaling their place of origin. That single letter plays a crucial role in determining value, authenticity, and the possibility of something going terribly wrong in the minting process. The Washington quarter itself carries deep historical meaning. Introduced in 1932 to honor the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth, it quickly became a symbol of American stability and tradition. By 1981, the design was well established, and the minting process was highly automated. That automation increased efficiency but also introduced opportunities for rare mistakes. When machines operate at high speed, tiny deviations can become permanent marks in metal, and those marks can turn an ordinary coin into a legend. One of the most powerful drivers of extreme value is the presence of errors that were never meant to exist. Mint errors are not all created equal. Many are minor and add little or no premium. But a small fraction of errors are so dramatic, so rare, and so historically significant that they place a coin into an entirely different category. The 1981 Washington quarter, under specific error conditions, can become one of those coins. Mint mark errors are among the most fascinating possibilities. A missing P mint mark on a 1981 quarter would already raise serious questions, because Philadelphia quarters from that year were intended to carry that identifier. If a coin appears without it, collectors immediately investigate whether it is a filled mint mark, a grease strike, or a genuine omission caused by die damage. A true missing mint mark error, confirmed through expert analysis, can command extraordinary attention. If such an error were unique or part of an extremely small group, its value could skyrocket beyond traditional expectations. Even more intriguing is the possibility of a doubled mint mark or a misplaced mint mark. These errors occur when the punch or die alignment goes wrong during preparation. A doubled mint mark is not just a visual curiosity, it is evidence of a flawed process that should not have happened. When collectors encounter such an anomaly on a widely circulated coin like the 1981 quarter, it challenges assumptions about mint quality control during that period. Die errors take the story even further. The die is the heart of the minting process, transferring design details onto blank metal discs. Over time, dies degrade, crack, and sometimes fail catastrophically. If a damaged die continued striking coins before being removed, it could produce quarters with dramatic cracks, missing design elements, or distorted features. A major die break affecting Washington's portrait or the lettering would instantly make a coin stand out as something extraordinary. Double die errors are especially valuable when they are strong, clear, and previously undocumented. A true double die is created during the die-making process, not during the striking of individual coins. This results in visible doubling on letters, numbers, or facial features. On a 1981 quarter, a dramatic double die affecting the date, the word Liberty, or Washington's eye and profile would be a discovery of enormous importance. The fewer examples that exist, the higher the potential value climbs. Another layer of rarity comes from planchet errors. The planchet is the blank metal disc that becomes a coin. If the wrong metal alloy is used, or if a planchet intended for another denomination is struck with a quarter die, the resulting coin becomes an anomaly that should never exist. A 1981 quarter struck on the wrong planchet, especially one from a different denomination or composition, would represent a minting mistake of historic proportions. Such coins are among the most sought-after pieces in numismatics. Weight and thickness anomalies also play a crucial role in identifying these rare pieces. A quarter that weighs significantly more or less than the standard specification raises immediate red flags. Precision scales and metallurgical testing can reveal whether the coin was struck on an incorrect planchet or if metal composition errors occurred. When the results do not match any known standard, collectors know they may be dealing with a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. Strike errors further deepen the mystery. Off-center strikes occur when the planchet is not properly aligned during striking. While minor off-center strikes are relatively common, extreme examples where a significant portion of the design is missing can be highly valuable. A broad strike, where the coin expands beyond its normal diameter due to the absence of a retaining collar, creates an entirely different appearance. If a 1981 P quarter combined a broad strike with other errors, its uniqueness would be undeniable. Multiple strikes are another extraordinary possibility. These occur when a coin is struck more than once, sometimes at different angles. The resulting overlapping images can be dramatic and visually striking. Multiple strike errors are rare on modern quarters, and when they occur on a coin with additional anomalies, they can elevate value to unimaginable levels. Surface anomalies caused by improper alloy mixing can also create unique textures and colors. These effects must originate from the minting process itself, not from environmental damage. A true mint-created surface anomaly tells a story about what went wrong during production, and when that story is unique, the coin becomes a historical artifact rather than just currency. The theoretical value of $758 million may sound unbelievable, but in the world of elite collecting, value is driven by uniqueness, historical importance, and irreplaceability. A coin that proves an undocumented minting event, or reveals a previously unknown flaw in mint operations, becomes priceless. Wealthy collectors, institutions, and museums compete not just for ownership, but for the prestige of possessing something that cannot be duplicated. Condition is another critical factor. Even the rarest error loses potential value if the coin is heavily worn or damaged. A high-grade example preserved in near-mint condition multiplies value dramatically. When a coin survives decades with minimal wear, it becomes a miracle of preservation. Combine that with an extreme error, and you have the foundation for a record-breaking valuation. Authentication and professional grading are essential steps in this journey. Experts examine every detail, from metal composition to die markers, ensuring that the coin story is genuine. Once authenticated, a coin enters a new realm where private negotiations and elite auctions determine its worth. At that level, prices are no longer driven by face value or even metal content, but by desire, rarity, and historical significance. What makes the 1981 P Washington quarter so exciting is that these coins are not ancient relics locked away in vaults. They still exist in the world. They may be sitting in collections, inherited jars, or forgotten boxes. Every time someone looks closely at an ordinary quarter, there is a chance, however small, that history could be rediscovered. This is why knowledge matters. Understanding what to look for, recognizing genuine mint errors, and appreciating the story behind each anomaly is what transforms curiosity into discovery. A quarter that once seemed insignificant can become a symbol of how small mistakes can create extraordinary value, and this is only the beginning of the full story behind how a 1981 P Liberty Washington quarter can rise from everyday change to legendary status. My dears, whether you're a longtime coin collector, a curious newcomer, or someone who just discovered an ordinary-looking quarter in a drawer and wondered if it might be something extraordinary. Now's story is about possibility, mystery, and how something most people spend without a second thought can sometimes carry a value that completely defies its face amount. We're diving into the fascinating world of the Liberty Quarter Dollar from 1983 with a Philadelphia mint origin, a coin that on the surface is worth just 25 cents, yet under rare circumstances has been connected to values reaching as high as $527 million. This isn't just about money, though. It's about history, minting science, human error, and the powerful imagination of collectors who understand that rarity and story can transform metal into legend. The 1983 Liberty Quarter Dollar exists at an interesting moment in American coinage history. The early 1980s were a time of economic pressure, rising metal costs, and changing mint practices in the United States. The Washington quarter design, often casually referred to as a Liberty quarter because of its strong symbolic connection to freedom and national identity, had already been in circulation for decades. By 1983, millions of quarters were struck every year, and most of them blended seamlessly into everyday commerce. Yet this particular year stands out for collectors because of unusual production conditions, gaps in official mint sets, and a higher chance for errors to escape into circulation. One of the most important background details is that in 1982 and 1983, the United States Mint did not issue traditional uncirculated mint sets for collectors. This meant that coins from these years were mostly released directly into circulation, without the careful selection and preservation that mint sets usually provide. As a result, finding high-grade examples from 1983, especially those with unique characteristics or errors, is significantly more difficult than for many other years. This scarcity of pristine examples already adds a layer of desirability before we even begin to talk about errors and mistakes. The Philadelphia Mint, indicated by the absence of a mint mark on the coin, produced a vast number of 1,983 quarters. However, high production volume does not guarantee perfection. In fact, the faster and more intensely coins are produced, the greater the chance that something goes wrong. Dies wear out, planchets can be flawed, machines can fall out of alignment, and human oversight can miss subtle problems. Each of these issues can create a coin that is technically defective but numismatically priceless. One category of error that has captivated collectors is the off-center strike. When a quarter is struck off-center, part of the design may be missing, while another part appears unusually thick or distorted. In most cases, minor off-center strikes are worth modest premiums. But in extreme cases, especially when the date and key design elements remain visible, the coin becomes dramatically rarer. An extreme off-center 1983 p quarter, especially one in exceptional condition, can become the kind of specimen collectors talk about for years. The more dramatic the visual effect and the better the preservation, the more value it can command. Another powerful factor is the double die error. This occurs when the die used to strike the coin receives a misaligned impression during its creation. The result is a coin that appears to have doubled letters, numbers, or design elements. On a Liberty quarter from 1983, doubling might appear in the date, in the word Liberty, or in the motto "In God We Trust." True double die errors are different from machine doubling, and experienced collectors know how to tell the difference. When a genuine double die is discovered on a coin from a year already known for scarcity in high grades, excitement spreads quickly through the numismatic community. Planchet errors also play a significant role in elevating the value of certain 1983 quarters. A planchet is the blank metal disc that becomes a coin after striking. Sometimes planchets are improperly prepared, resulting in coins that are too thin, too thick, or made from the wrong metal composition. A quarter struck on a planchet intended for a different denomination, or even a foreign planchet, can be astonishingly rare. These errors are not just unusual, they are physical proof that something extraordinary happened inside the mint on the day that coin was made. Die cracks, die breaks, and cut errors add yet another layer of intrigue. As dies age and wear down, cracks can form. When these cracks transfer onto the coin, they appear as raised lines or blobs of metal. Some collectors find these imperfections beautiful because they make each coin unique. In extreme cases, large die breaks can create dramatic raised areas that look almost sculptural. A 1983 Liberty quarter with a massive, well-defined die break, especially one that affects major design elements, can command significant attention and value. Mint mark anomalies, or in this case the absence of a mint mark, also matter. Philadelphia coins traditionally did not carry a mint mark for many years. However, errors involving ghost mint marks, repunched mint marks from transitional dies, or unusual die pairings can still occur. While the 1983 p quarter is expected to have no mint mark, any unusual markings or impressions in the mint mark area can spark intense interest. Collectors scrutinize these areas carefully because small details can make a massive difference. Condition is another critical element in understanding how a 25-cent coin could ever be associated with a value in the hundreds of millions. Most 1983 quarters in circulation are heavily worn, scratched, and dulled from decades of use. High-grade examples, especially those graded at the top of the scale by professional grading services, are exceedingly rare. When an already rare error coin also happens to survive in near-perfect or perfect condition, its value can multiply exponentially. This is where the idea of extreme valuations comes into play, driven by scarcity, demand, and the psychology of elite collecting. Collectors are not just buying metal, they are buying stories. A coin that represents a mistake, a moment in mint history, and a survival against the odds becomes more than currency. It becomes a conversation piece, a trophy, and sometimes even a symbol of status. When wealthy collectors compete for the finest known example of a particular era, prices can rise to levels that seem unbelievable to the average person. In this context, the idea of a 1983 Liberty Quarter being valued in the hundreds of millions reflects the upper extremes of what is theoretically possible when rarity, condition, and demand collide. Another important aspect is the role of speculation and possibility. Not every 1983 P quarter is valuable, and not every error leads to fortune. But the possibility that one coin could be different is what keeps collectors searching rolls, jars, and old collections. Stories of extraordinary finds fuel the imagination and motivate people to look closer. Even if only one example in millions reaches legendary status, the dream remains alive for everyone who checks their change. The historical and cultural significance of the Liberty Quarter design also adds emotional value. Featuring George Washington, a symbol of American independence and leadership, the quarter carries a sense of national identity. For many collectors, owning a rare example is like holding a tangible piece of American history. When that history is combined with a dramatic mint error, the coin transcends its original purpose and becomes a historical artifact. Market dynamics also play a role in how such extreme values are discussed. Auction houses, private sales, and media coverage can all amplify interest. When a rare coin is promoted as one of a kind or the finest known example, it can attract international attention. Wealthy collectors, museums, and investors may all compete, pushing prices higher and higher. In these situations, the value assigned to a coin is not just about metal or age but about prestige and exclusivity. It's also important to understand that values at this level are often hypothetical or represent the upper ceiling of what might be possible under perfect circumstances. They reflect a combination of rarity, error type, condition, provenance, and collector demand. While most people will never encounter such a coin, the fact that it could exist is what makes numismatics so thrilling. As you hold a quarter in your hand, it's easy to forget the complex journey it took from raw metal to finished coin. Each step in that process introduces the potential for error, and each error introduces the potential for rarity. The 1983 Liberty Quarter dollar from Philadelphia stands as a reminder that even in a modern minting era, surprises can happen. It challenges the assumption that only ancient or gold coins can be valuable and shows that even recent, everyday currency can hide extraordinary secrets. The story of this coin is ultimately about attention and curiosity. Those who take the time to learn, to examine details, and to appreciate imperfections are the ones who uncover hidden treasures. Whether or not you ever find a quarter worth millions, the knowledge you gain transforms the way you see money itself. Every coin becomes a small piece of art, history, and possibility. If you've enjoyed this deep dive into the Liberty Quarter dollar of 1983 and the incredible errors and circumstances that can elevate it far beyond its face value, remember that the world of coins is full of similar stories waiting to be discovered. Sometimes, the most valuable things are hiding in plain sight, quietly passing from hand to hand, waiting for someone to look a little closer. If you would like, I see.